The situation in East Asia in the 7th century was unstable, with not only the fall of the Sui dynasty and the unification of the Tang dynasty, but also wars between Baekje and Shilla. In response to this turmoil, political reforms were carried out in Japan. This is the Taika reform. The purpose of this reform was to establish a national system centered on the Emperor of Japan. As a result, Japan adopted Chinese systems and built the foundations for establishing the Ritsuryo system. The central figures in this reform were Prince Nakano Oi and Nakatomi no Kamatari. They are the future Emperor Tenji and Fujiwara no Kamatari. However, after their deaths, a battle for succession arose. The one who won the battle was Emperor Tenmu, the younger brother of Emperor Tenji. Thereafter, Emperor Tenmu's descendants inherited the throne. However, succession to the throne became extremely difficult as several emperors of Japan died at a young age. First, Prince Kusakabe, the son of Emperor Tenmu, who was considered to be the next emperor of Japan, died at a young age. Therefore, until Prince Kusakabe's son, Emperor Monmu, grew up, his grandmother, Empress Jita, as an interim successor. However, the grown-up Emperor Monmu also died at a young age. And the same situation repeated itself again. While Emperor Monmu's son, Crown Prince Obito, was growing up, his grandmother, Empress Jinmei, as an interim successor. Empress Jinmei, who ascended to the Emperor of Japan in this way, was merely an interim emperor. Her grandson, Crown Prince Obito, was expected to become the next emperor of Japan. This was the situation just before the start of the Nara period. However, at that time in Japan, there were no clear rules regarding imperial succession. Therefore, there was a possibility that members of the imperial family other than those in the direct line could inherit the throne. Under these circumstances, it was natural that Empress Jinmei wanted her grandson, Crown Prince Obito, to become Emperor of Japan and did not want to pass the throne to any other imperial family. Empress Jinmei searched for a reliable ally to help Crown Prince Obito become the next Emperor of Japan. That collaborator was Fujiwara no Fuito. Crown Prince Obito's mother was Fujiwara no Miyako, the daughter of Fujiwara no Fuito. In other words, Crown Prince Obito was the grandson of Empress Jinmei as well as Fujiwara no Fuito. Therefore, the interests of Empress Jinmei and Fujiwara no Fuito were aligned. They worked together to protect Crown Prince Obito from opposing forces and make him the next Emperor of Japan. However, it was an unusual event for the mother of a deceased Emperor of Japan to ascend to the throne. There was a case where Empress Jita after the death of Prince Kusakabe. However, Prince Kusakabe died before becoming Emperor of Japan. The situation was different in the case of Emperor Monmu, who died after becoming Emperor of Japan. Therefore, Empress Jinmei provoked a backlash from those around her. The result was a politically unstable situation. Empress Jinmei probably wanted to change the situation. At one point, she thought, China has moved relocation many times, so Japan should relocation as well. She then said this about the area. The conditions there are perfect for building a capital city. The fortune-telling results are good too. And so she decided to relocation. Thus, the relocation from Fujiwara-kyo to Heijo-kyo was announced. This marked an important turning point in the Nara period. A relocation means that Japan's capital will change. To achieve this, thorough preparation was necessary. This move of the relocation marked the beginning of a great relocation of government officials across the country, resulting in major changes in their status, titles, and places of work. The Daijokan, the highest organ of national government, came to be composed of such members. The Chancellor of the state is an unfamiliar position. This was a position that oversaw the Daijokan and was held by a member of the imperial family. Under this new system, the relocation of the capital to Heijo-kyo was carried out. Thus began the Nara period, and a full-fledged Japanese nation under the Ritsuryo codes began to operate. As construction of the new capital, Heijo-kyo, progressed, Crown Prince Karu, who was expected to become the next emperor of Japan, also made preparations to take on the new era. By the time he was 14 years old, he was finally made Crown Prince. This meant that he was the presumptive next emperor of Japan. This is where Crown Prince Obito lived when he became the Crown Prince. Looking at the map, we can see that it was located right next to Fujiwara no Fuito's mansion. This arrangement also shows Fujiwara no Fuito's desire to have his Crown Prince Obito become Emperor of Japan. As an aside, since the Crown Prince's residence was located to the east of Heijo Palace, it came to be called Togu. The word Togu later came to refer to the Crown Prince. This is how Crown Prince Obito became the Crown Prince. He then gradually began to take part in political ceremonies, preparing himself to become Emperor of Japan. A few years later, when Empress Jinmei was 55 years old, she said, "I'm old and tired of politics. I would like to hand over the throne to Crown Prince Obito. But he's still young, only 15. Therefore, I will abdicate to my daughter, Princess Hidaka, who is young and calm," she declared. Princess Hidaka was the 36-year-old daughter of Empress Jinmei and Prince Kusakabe. It was planned from early on that she would be the interim emperor of Japan until Crown Prince Obito grew up. So she remained single until that age. Thus, Princess Hidaka ascended to the Empress Jinmei, and she became Empress Gensho. This marks the second consecutive time that a woman has served as interim emperor of Japan. With Empress Gensho's accession to the throne, the imperial court appeared to be temporarily stable. But around that time, key political figures were passing away one after the other. The government was clearly weakened. In order to rebuild the government, Kozno Nara was appointed as middle counselor. But he too died just 2 years later. Furthermore, the minister of the left, Isanokami no Mero, also passed away. Eventually, the Daijokan was left with only Fujiwara no Fuito and Abe no Sukunamuro, and the Daijokan fell into an extreme shortage of manpower. At that time, the Daijokan was made up of representatives from each of the powerful clan. However, it was difficult to recruit new personnel. Fujiwara no Fuito's 4 sons were the ones who supported his administration in this difficult situation. Even after Fujiwara no Fuito's death, they each continued to be deeply involved in politics. His eldest son, Muchimuro, was 41 years old at the time of his death. Naturally, Muchimuro was already in a high position, serving as tutor to the Crown Prince Obito. By the way, Crown Prince Obito was the son of Muchimuro's older sister, Miyako, and therefore his nephew. Fusasaki, the second son of Fujiwara no Fuito, was 1 year younger than Muchimuro. So, when Fujiwara no Fuito died, he was 40 years old. He was a talented player who rose through the ranks at almost the same speed as his older brother, and sometimes even surpassed him. Umakai, the third son of Fujiwara no Fuito, was a little younger than them, 27 years old at the time. He was a very lively person. He was on missions to Tang, China. He was also assigned to the Tohoku region to fight against the Emishi, and to Kyushu to prepare for the Sheila and Hayato plans. He was a busy man who traveled from east to west. Mero, the fourth son of Fujiwara no Fuito, was 26 years old at the time and was intelligent and gifted with literary talent. But his personality was somewhat laid back. "We have a wonderful emperor of Japan and subjects," he even said. "In that case, I'll just listen to music and drink." This friendly nature endeared him to his friends. While the next generation of talent was growing in this way, Fujiwara no Fuito died of illness. This was the first time since the beginning of the Ritsuryo system that the title of Daiho Daijin was posthumously bestowed upon him. However, Fujiwara no Fuito was not the only one to die during that period. Empress Jinmei had already retired from her position as Emperor of Japan, but she too was seriously ill. She passed away soon after the death of Fujiwara no Fuito. Thus, the 2 powerful men who had cooperated to make Crown Prince Obito the Emperor of Japan died one after the other. This upset the political balance that had been maintained until then. Then the other forces that had been suppressed began to move. Thus began the full-scale Nara period, a turbulent time marked by continuous power struggles.